Chapter 1900. What does it mean to have a slightly winding process? Fu Sengzun, Fu Shenjun, was somewhat flustered.
To actually use symbols to create symbols. How dare he think of such a thing? It's so bold.
Lin Moyu's actions were too unexpected. Using symbol arrays to create symbols was something many symbol masters wouldn't even dare to imagine. Even Fu Sengzun had never thought of it. In his shock, Fu Sengzun even forgot about training soul sensitivity, staring intently at Lin Moyu. But this was just the beginning of the shock. What Lin Moyu did next was even bolder. He not only used symbol arrays to create symbols, but he even wanted to use symbol arrays to fuse symbols. In the minds of countless symbol masters, fusing symbols required constant trial and error, accumulating experience through countless failures before finally achieving fusion. But Lin Moyu wanted to directly use arrays to fuse symbols. This was even more outrageous than a wild fantasy. Yet Lin Moyu did just that. His courage and imagination were both sky-high. Fu Sengzun had a thought and connected to the Human Emperor network, recording Lin Moyu's actions from all angles. Lin Moyu didn't know Fu Sengzun was paying attention to him, but even if he knew, it wouldn't matter. What he was doing wasn't something that needed to be hidden. He had already failed countless times. He was also accumulating experience, failing again and again, accumulating again and again. After countless attempts, he finally gained some experience. Lin Moyu had determined his direction. He needed to set up a separate array to produce yellow stone symbols for each basic symbol. This was the most troublesome and labor-intensive method. For this, he needed to make major changes to the basic structure of the entire array, and even needed to adapt it with little gold. The volume of the array would at least double in size. Whether little gold could successfully control it was still a question. Lin Moyu had communicated with little gold, who said there was no problem. Over the years, little gold's intelligence and control had both improved. Section 2188/2369-2189. After fully determining the direction, Lin Moyu began to modify the array. He set up an array specifically for producing yellow stone symbols, then connected the array to one of the arrays in the golden armor symbol array that specifically produces basic symbols. This way, the produced yellow stone symbols would be automatically sent over to fuse with the produced basic symbols. But this was only the first step. Next, Lin Moyu infused soul power into the two arrays. The vibration frequencies of the two arrays were adjusted. Fusing symbols requires soul power as a bridge, and also requires the same vibration frequency. Previously, individual symbols were adjusted, but now entire arrays needed to be adjusted. The difficulty was on a completely different level. Lin Moyu adjusted for several days straight before finally adjusting the frequencies of the two to be completely consistent. After completing the second step, the array still couldn't be used immediately. His soul power couldn't always be present, and his soul couldn't constantly adjust the array. The subsequent continuous work, he had to hand over to someone else to handle. Little Gold was the array spirit, the big manager of the array, and a separate individual, completely unable to finally manipulate soul power. Lin Moyu had long thought about who to entrust this task to. The World Tree. Besides it, there was no better choice. With a thought, a tree branch flew out from beside him. The World Tree broke through the boundary between virtual and real, coming into the real world. The World Tree branch gently rested on the array, replacing Lin Moyu in controlling the array. It had been providing soul power to Lin Moyu all along, and could be said to be extremely familiar with Lin Moyu's soul power. The array began to operate. A yellow stone symbol was drawn by the array, then traveled along the connecting channel into the basic symbol array. At this time, the basic symbol was also being produced. The two symbols quickly met, then began to fuse. With Lin Moyu's soul power as a bridge, and the two symbol arrays adjusted to the same vibration frequency, even the produced symbols had identical vibration frequencies. Without any unexpected issues, the two fused together very smoothly. The newly born fused symbol quickly jadified, representing a perfect fusion. Lin Moyu's eyes gleamed with joy as he clenched his fist.
Success.
Not far away, Fu Sengzun couldn't help but tremble. He had a chilling feeling.
Not only did it succeed, but it was a perfect fusion.
Then he smiled bitterly.
This is truly killing people and destroying their hearts. If other symbol masters knew about this, I'm afraid a large number of people would have their Tao hearts collapse. Fortunately, this old man's Tao heart is firm. Thank goodness.
Others find it extremely difficult to fuse symbols, but Lin Moyu directly used symbol arrays for mass production and mass fusion. In the eyes of other symbol masters, they weren't even as good as a symbol array. How could their Tao hearts not collapse? Lin Moyu's gaze flickered as he continued to drive the array. Successful fusion was only the first step. Next, symbols continued to be produced and constantly fused. As the number of fusions increased, the vibration frequency of the symbol array would also undergo subtle changes. This is where the world tree came into play. It replaced Lin Moyu in adjusting the symbol array, keeping the arrays consistent. At the same time, it also replenished soul power for the array, keeping the soul power abundant. Only after producing and successfully fusing several thousand symbols did Lin Moyu confirm that his idea had succeeded. With this experience, the next steps became simple. He began to draw yellow stone symbol arrays one by one, connecting them all to the golden armor symbol array. The volume of the golden armor symbol array expanded by nearly 3 times. The original 2-layer structure became a 3-layer structure. The number of symbol arrays also expanded from the original 12 to 23. The outermost layer consisted of 11 arrays for producing yellow stone symbols. The middle layer had 11 arrays for producing the symbols needed for the golden armor symbol, where the yellow stone symbols would fuse to form new symbols. The last layer was a single array that combined all the symbols to form the new golden armor symbol. This array was the simplest, but without it, the process wouldn't be complete. Lin Moyu went from unfamiliar to proficient, taking a total of 10 days to finally adjust the entire array. The array operated, lighting up layer by layer. 11 yellow stone symbols were produced and flew out simultaneously. Then they fused with the symbols produced in the second layer, forming 11 brand new symbols. Next, the 11 symbols flew towards the last layer of the array, combining in a predetermined order to form the new golden armor symbol. Under Little Gold's control, the new golden armor symbol flew out of the array, shimmering in midair. Lin Moyu sensed the new golden armor symbol. It was basically no different from one he had made by hand. At this moment, Lin Moyu finally let out a long sigh of relief. It was done. Overall, it had gone smoothly. Looking at his achievement, with a slight hint of self-satisfaction, he murmured,
Although the process was slightly winding, the result is still gratifying.
These words fell on Fu Sungjun's ears, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. He was cursing in his heart. What did he mean by?
The process was slightly winding.
He had watched the entire process. Where was there any winding? Couldn't have been smoother. When other symbol masters fuse symbols, which one doesn't take years, often several years or more than a decade. How many days did it take you? You just completed a fully automated system for producing and fusing symbols. What kind of winding is this? Couldn't have been smoother. Fu Sungjun thought of his past experiences. Truly a handful of bitterness and a handful of tears. That suffering was simply unbearable to recall. Fu Sungjun hesitated for a moment, but ultimately walked over. 1901. Chapter 1901. Please give a lecture for Talisman Masters. The Talisman Saint had just taken 2 steps when he suddenly stopped, because he saw Xiao Jin. Previously, his attention had been focused on Lin Moyu and the Talisman Array, and he hadn't noticed Xiao Jin. Moreover, Xiao Jin was behind the Talisman Array, blending in with it, making it difficult to detect. It wasn't until now that he finally saw Xiao Jin. The Talisman Saint seemed a bit excited.
This is an array spirit.
When an array has an array spirit, the nature of the array changes. An array spirit can independently control the array, and can also assist its master in controlling the array together. Having a powerful array spirit is also the dream of many array masters and talisman masters. It's very difficult to produce an array spirit, The array needs to be extremely perfect to have a chance of producing an array spirit. And it also depends on luck, with luck accounting for at least half the factor. The talisman saint couldn't help but sigh.
His talisman array actually produced an array spirit. This luck surpasses the vast majority of people.
At this moment, Lin Moyu was having Xiao Jin send one new golden armor talisman after another into the skeleton general's body. Although the array had succeeded, it still needed to be tested for stability. Lin Moyu had calculated in his mind that as long as 1,000 talismans didn't have any problems, there was a high probability that there wouldn't be any problems in the future. The talisman saint came to Lin Moyu's side and stood shoulder to shoulder with him.
Did you come up with this talisman array yourself?
Lin Moyu nodded.
Thanks to the talisman language you gave me. I studied the talismans in it, and combined with the information I saw in the Talisman Association, I built this talisman array.
As he spoke, Lin Moyu took out the talisman language, preparing to return it to the talisman saint. The talisman language was no longer useful to him, as he had already mastered all the talismans in it. The talisman saint declined.
No need to return it to me. If you find a suitable candidate, just pass it down.
Lin Moyu didn't stand on ceremony and directly put it away. He knew that the talisman saint must have a copy of the talisman language, and the Su family wasn't short of inheritance. Moreover, the Human Emperor Network had also recorded all the contents of the talisman language, so the human race wouldn't lose the inheritance. The talisman saint admired the talisman array set up by Lin Moyu.
3-layer structure, clear division of labor. It's truly a work of art.
Lin Moyu said with a hint of helplessness.
There's no choice. Who told me I have so many subordinates? If I can't manufacture automatically, I draw until I die and still couldn't finish.
The talisman saint asked.
How effective is this talisman of yours?
Lin Moyu willed it, and a newly produced golden armor talisman flew over. The talisman saint immediately examined it. With his eye, he could of course see the essence of this talisman. The golden armor talisman wasn't some profound talisman, far inferior to ancient talismans. However, the talisman saint still looked at it with great interest. What he really valued wasn't the golden armor talisman itself, but Lin Moyu's ingenious techniques. The talisman saint said in a low voice,
If I'm not mistaken, the defensive power of this talisman has reached the peak of the God Venerable Realm.
Lin Moyu nodded.
You're not mistaken. It has indeed reached the peak of the God Venerable Realm.
The talisman saint's eyes flickered.
If the human race's army could be equipped with this talisman in batches.
If the human race's army could all use the new golden armor talisman, their attack power might not change, but their defense power would definitely make the enemy completely despair. Facing an army that could completely abandon defense and attack with full force, anyone would be terrified. Such an army would be madmen, extremely terrifying. Lin Moyu thought for a moment.
Actually, to equip them on a large scale is not impossible. After all, the human race has many talisman masters. Let them work together to draw these talismans, and then make the talismans into talisman plates.
The talisman saint shook his head.
That's not what I meant. I meant fully automatic batch production like you're doing.
Lin Moyu immediately dashed the talisman saint's hopes.
It's not possible.
Oh? The talisman saint's gaze showed confusion, as if asking why it wasn't possible. Lin Moyu gave the answer.
To achieve fully automatic talisman fusion, and to ensure successful fusion, it's necessary to fine-tune the vibration frequency of the talisman array to keep it consistent. The difficulty of this adjustment is much greater than the soul vibration you felt earlier, about 100 times greater. Moreover, after the talisman array operates for a period of time, their vibrations will also change, requiring readjustment. If even one talisman is not adjusted properly and a difference occurs, fusion failure is a minor issue. It might destroy the entire talisman array. And most importantly, the talismans produced by it, after being made into talisman plates, are also one-time use items. Unlike my summons, where the talismans are fused into the soul and can exist permanently.
The talisman saint pondered Lin Moyu's words. In fact, Lin Moyu was not wrong. Lin Moyu's summons were different. The talismans were directly fused into the soul and could be nourished by the soul fire, existing forever. The human race couldn't absorb talismans into their souls. They were all one-time use items, so the effect wasn't as great as imagined. Moreover, how difficult these talisman arrays were to make, even the talisman saint wasn't confident he could produce them. Lin Moyu said,
I will hand over the method of making the talisman array and the method of training soul sensitivity to the Human Emperor Network, hoping to let more talisman masters see it.
The talisman saint pondered for a moment.
Can you give a lecture?
Lin Moyu exclaimed.
Me give a lecture? Don't joke with me, old sir. I'm only at the first level of God Venerable. How am I qualified to give a lecture?
The talisman saint said,
Not to lecture others, just to lecture us talisman masters. Just lecture on how to train soul sensitivity, and it would be best if you could refine some magical tools needed for training soul sensitivity. I will have the best refiners in the human race cooperate with you. As long as you can refine them, they can replicate them. I will also have the Human Emperor Network pay attention to those with sensitive souls and let them cultivate talismans. You just give the lecture, leave the rest to us.
The talisman saint said a lot, mostly for the sake of the human race, and also for the inheritance of the human race. Lin Moyu had no reason to refuse.
All right then, after I set up the array, I'll give the lecture.
After saying this, the talisman saint left the training room, not even continuing the soul sensitivity training. Soul enhancement wasn't something that could be done in a day, so he wasn't in a hurry. Later, there would be plenty of time for training and improvement. After the talisman saint left, Lin Moyu also began to specially set up the talisman array. The first talisman array was tested, and there were no problems at all. Xiao Jin controlled the array skillfully, and the world tree could also continuously enter the array for fine-tuning. So, Lin Moyu transferred the array and Xiao Jin back to the soul world and officially set up the array in the soul world. In his plan, the number of array sites this time would increase significantly. Previously, it was 10 by 10, totaling 100 arrays. But at that time, the total number of the undead army was just over 100 million. Unlike now, when added together it exceeded 600 million. If they continued to use only 100 arrays, the time spent would need to increase sixfold. Lin Moyu set it up as 20 by 20, totaling 400 arrays. The number increased fourfold compared to before. The only problem was whether Xiao Jin, as the array spirit, could manage it. The little one guaranteed there wouldn't be a problem, but everything was unknown. 1902. Chapter 1902. Another unprecedented feat. In the central temple of the Divine City, Tian Xingzuan, Hao Shengzuan, and Zhan Xingzuan were discussing matters. Zhan Xingzuan said,
Except for those who are out, all the other Bian and Xingzun in my war god temple have been checked, and no problems were found.
Upon hearing this news, both Hao Shengzuan and Tian Xingzuan breathed a sigh of relief. Tian Xingzuan said,
This is the best news we've received recently.
Hao Shengzuan agreed.
It's indeed good news that the war god temple hasn't been affected.
Zhan Xingzuan raised an eyebrow.
Is the situation in the Divine City not good?
Tian Xingzuan nodded.
The high-level areas are fine, but the situation in the mid-level areas is not optimistic. The specific data is still being compiled by the Human Emperor Network.
Zhan Shengzuan gritted his teeth and said in a low voice,
The infiltration of the Devouring Spirit clan is so intense?
Tian Xingzuan responded,
After 10,000 years of dormancy, it is clear that these guys have learned from their past mistakes, turning from overt to covert, preparing for a big move. A bunch of despicable guys.
Zhan Xingzuan couldn't help but curse. Hao Shengzuan seemed much more relaxed compared to them.
Think about it positively. Even our human race has been infiltrated so severely. The situation of other races is probably even worse. If a Xingzun has been infiltrated by the Devouring Spirit clan, that would be interesting.
Just like the future Buddha in the Buddhist clan, It can be said that more than half of the entire Buddhist clan is already under the control of the Devouring Spirit clan. It is imaginable how many members of the Devouring Spirit clan are in the Buddhist clan with the future Buddha in charge. Although everyone knows that it is difficult to control a Shangzuan, it is not impossible. The Devouring Spirit clan's possession does not necessarily happen after becoming a Shangzuan. It could have possessed a genius early on and then cultivated all the way up. Such things are impossible to guard against. Even the human race with the Human Emperor network cannot prevent it, let alone other races. The central temple's door opened, and Fu Shengzuan flew in. Tian Shengzuan's eyes flashed with brilliance.
Fu Shengzuan, have you made any progress?
Fu Shengzuan came forward.
Indeed, I have made some progress. Lin Xiao's talent in runes is unprecedented.
With one sentence, Fu Shengzuan elevated Lin Moyu to an unprecedented height. This sentence also indirectly admitted that his talent in the way of runes, as a Shengzuan who entered the Tao with runes, was not as good as Lin Moyu. Fu Shengzuan did not feel embarrassed at all. He pointed his finger and projected an image. In the image, 20 soul light clusters appeared. Fu Shengzuan pointed a few more times, and the Human Emperor network intervened in reality, instantly enlarging the projection, making the 20 soul light clusters appear as if they were real in front of everyone. Fu Shengzuan said,
These are soul light clusters I copied using the Human Emperor network. See if you can find any differences.
At first glance, the 20 soul light clusters looked identical, with no differences at all. The Shengzuns frowned as they watched, unable to see any differences. Zhan Shengzuan and Tian Shengzuan shook their heads simultaneously.
No difference.
How Shengzuan seemed to notice something.
These soul clusters seem a bit more active.
Fu Shengzuan pointed to the soul light cluster on the far left.
Using this as a base, each subsequent soul light cluster has a vibration frequency 1% higher than the previous one.
The soul light clusters themselves were not strong, even very weak. On such a weak basis, a 1% increase was indeed difficult to detect. How Shengzuan's ability to sense a bit already proved that his soul was quite sensitive. Fu Shengzuan immediately explained the method of perfect rune fusion, leaving the Shengzuns dumbfounded. Tian Shengzuan sighed.
A problem that we couldn't solve for over 100,000 years, even with the entire clan's efforts, was discovered by Lin Xiaoyu.
How Shengzuan couldn't help but exclaim.
Lin Xiaoyu is indeed a genius, unparalleled by ordinary people.
Section 2190/2369-2191. Zhan Shengzuan's eyes flickered.
According to Lin Xiaoyu, soul sensitivity can be improved through training. Does this mean that others can also achieve perfect rune fusion?
Fu Shengzuan said.
There is a chance, but it cannot be said with 100% certainty. After all, everyone's improvement has its limits.
Zhan Shengzuan said.
No matter, we have many rune masters, and some of them will surely have excellent aptitude.
Fu Shengzuan did not refute but also did not agree. He had personally tried the training, and while it was effective, it also depended on one's talent. In his estimation, there would probably be no one who could reach Lin Moyu's level. Not to mention reaching it, even getting close would be remarkable. However, Zhan Shengzuan was not wrong. The human race had a large number of rune masters, and there might indeed be a miracle. Fu Shengzuan pointed again, and the projection changed. A rune array appeared in the image. Fu Shengzuan said,
Besides rune fusion, there is actually something more important. Lin Xiaoyu created a miraculous rune array.
Fu Shengzuan explained how Lin Moyu used arrays to create and fuse runes, and also demonstrated it through the Human Emperor network's projection. Seeing the runes perfectly fused under the control of the array, the Shengzuns were all amazed. They couldn't hide their shock, each one exclaiming in admiration. Even Fu Shengzuan, who had experienced it firsthand, still felt shocked when watching it again. How Shengzuan sighed.
I knew Lin Xiaoyu had achieved rune creation with arrays, but I didn't expect he could also achieve rune fusion with arrays. It's truly a miracle.
Tian Shengzuan praised.
Lin Xiaoyu has once again made history, doing something unprecedented.
Zhan Shengzuan had a different thought.
I wonder if this method can be shared. It would be very useful for my war god temple.
Tian Shengzuan said.
It's not just useful for the war god temple, it's useful for the entire human race.
They all looked at Fu Shengzuan, who said,
I have already asked Lin Xiaoyu to give a lecture. At that time, our rune masters can all attend. Whether it's runes or arrays, they require comprehension. It's not something that can be taught or learned easily.
Everyone understood this principle. They were all pleased that Lin Moyu agreed to give a lecture. Tian Shengzuan thought for a moment.
Let's leave this matter to Fu Shengzuan.
Fu Shengzuan nodded.
I have already thought about it. The lecture will be held at the Rune Master Square in the Divine City. At that time, all high-level rune masters in our clan will come to the Divine City to listen. As for mid- and low-level rune masters, they can watch through the Human Emperor Network.
The high-level rune masters Fu Shengzuan mentioned included members of the Rune Master Association, high-level rune masters in the War God Temple, and high-level rune masters in the military. These numbers were already considerable. If mid- and low-level rune masters were added, the number would be astonishing. They discussed the details for a while and quickly finalized them. Then Fu Shengzuan went to make arrangements. Soon, all rune masters in the human race received a notice about the lecture. This lecture was not voluntary. All rune masters had to attend. No matter where they were, as long as there was a Human Emperor network, they had to listen. All high-level rune masters were required to return to the Divine City Star domain. The Divine City Star domain opened special channels to bring back high-level rune masters. The human race became busy again. In addition to checking for the Devouring Spirit Clan, rune masters had another major event. 000. In the training room, Lin Moyu sat cross-legged on the ground, his aura calm and peaceful, as if he were asleep. In his soul world, he was fully modifying the Golden Armor rune array. Compared to the first modification, his actions were now extremely proficient, and the modification speed was getting faster and faster. One rune array after another was modified and handed over to Xiao Jin for control. It took 50 days for Lin Moyu to complete the modification of 100 rune arrays. After confirming that Xiao Jin still had the capacity, he began to create new rune arrays. 1903. Chapter 1903. The Lecture of the Saint Sovereign President. Time passed day by day, and the Golden Armor rune array in the Soul World continued to grow. The rune arrays increased at a rate of 2 per day, and the scale of the rune array was rapidly expanding. The World Tree dropped numerous branches, connecting with the rune arrays, providing them with infinite soul power and controlling the vibration frequency of the soul. Lin Moyu's soul was very sensitive and could control every subtle change. As Lin Moyu's innate talent, the World Tree also had strong control over soul power. Under its control, the array operated very smoothly without any difficulty. As the number of arrays increased, Lin Moyu's concern that Xiao Jin might not be able to control them did not materialize. Moreover, as the number of arrays increased, Xiao Jin's power and spirituality also increased. When the number of arrays reached 200, Xiao Jin's whole body shone with golden light, as if it had grown a bit larger, and its aura became even stronger. Xiao Jin excitedly exclaimed,
Master, my power has increased.
Lin Moyu could feel its change even without it saying so. Increased power was a good thing. The stronger the power, the more arrays it could control. As Xiao Jin grew stronger, Lin Moyu's last bit of concern was also erased. Lin Moyu's actions became more composed, with new runes flying out one by one, forming arrays in the soul world. In the process of setting up the arrays, Lin Moyu was also learning and comprehending. The fusion of rune arrays and runes was called the two great paths of runes. Most people chose one of the two paths, and very few could advance on both simultaneously. Even the rune Saint Sovereign, although he had advanced far on both paths, still had strengths and weaknesses. But Lin Moyu had seen the end of the great path, so he knew very well that to reach the end, both paths must advance simultaneously. Only by reaching the end of both paths and merging them into one could one truly reach the end of the path of runes and touch the ultimate great path. This was the peculiarity of the path of runes. different from the path of laws. In the path of laws, as long as one chose one and cultivated it to the extreme, there was a chance to touch the ultimate great path. This was also called
different paths leading to the same goal.
However, Lin Moyu was walking both the path of laws and the path of runes together, cultivating multiple paths simultaneously, aiming to reach the end together. The difficulty was very high, but if he could succeed, the road ahead would become broader. He continuously set up arrays, constantly drawing runes, and continuously fusing runes. The insights he gained from observing the runes of the great world were all manifested, becoming techniques and methods he mastered.
If I use fused runes to set up arrays, can the produced runes become stronger? I can try it when I have the chance in the future. But I need to first find suitable fused runes for setting up arrays.
While setting up arrays, Lin Moyu still had the energy to think about problems. This sudden idea was not without basis. Ancient runes were composed of a large number of fused runes, and these fused runes were extremely complex, all integrating a large number of runes. The entire ancient rune could be seen as an array composed of a large number of fused runes. So when it was broken apart, the individual runes could still function and exist independently. The ancient rune provided Lin Moyu with good guidance, pointing him in the right direction and letting him know what to do. In the Divine City Star domain, a large number of high-level rune masters were ready, waiting for the lecture to begin. Recently, high-level rune masters who had been traveling outside also returned. The specific time for the lecture was not set, but the notice from the Human Emperor Network had been issued, and they could only wait. Because the person who issued the notice was the Rune Saint Sovereign, the current president of the Rune Master Association and the leader of all rune masters. No one dared to disobey their orders. Some rune masters discussed privately what the lecture would be about.
I think the president must have had new insights and wants to share them with us. The president hasn't come out for many years. It's been 1,000 years since the last lecture, right? 1,266 years. When the president last lectured, I was only a 5th level rune master, and now I'm an 8th level. Your cultivation speed is really fast, advancing from a 5th level rune master to an 8th level rune master so quickly. I'm nothing. You haven't seen the cultivation speed of Rune Master Lin. Rune Master Lin? Is that Lin Moyu? I've heard he's been very famous in recent years. You must have been in seclusion for the past few years.
That rune master had indeed been in seclusion recently, not hearing anything from the outside world, so he was not aware of Lin Moyu's deeds. Immediately, someone told him about Lin Moyu's deeds, and everyone was stunned. While they were discussing, they suddenly received a message from the Human Emperor Network. The lecture will take place in 10 days. Everyone, please prepare. High-level rune masters, please go to the Rune Master Square in the Divine City in the coming days. The special teleportation array has been opened. Mid- and low-level rune masters, please enter the Human Emperor Network to listen to the lecture on the day of the lecture. All rune masters, please make a great world oath. The oath is as follows. The notice from the Human Emperor Network surprised all the rune masters.
Wow, the lecture will be held at the Rune Master Square in the Divine City. That's the holy land of rune masters. Ordinary rune masters have no qualification to go there. Only high-level rune masters are qualified to go there. The specifications for this lecture are really high. The president's lecture is indeed extraordinary. Listen carefully, and there will definitely be great gains. But why do we have to make a great world oath? It's so strange. There's nothing strange about it. Whatever the president says, we do. There will definitely be no mistake.
One by one, the rune masters made the Great World Oath. Not only the Great World Oath, but there were also special people who would bring the verification pill. The content of Lin Moyu's lecture must not be leaked. Under the control of the Human Emperor Network, the human race had minimized the risk. 000. The door of the training room slowly opened, and Lin Moyu walked out, feeling the light and heat brought by the 4 stars. After nearly 300 days, he finally completed the new golden armor rune array. The horizontal and vertical 20 by 20 golden armor rune array shone brightly in the soul world. The array spirit Xiao Jin was like a child who had obtained a beloved toy, happily manipulating these arrays. Under Xiao Jin's control, coupled with the cooperation of the World Tree, the entire array operated very smoothly. Every 10 seconds, a batch of new golden armor runes would be produced and then integrated into the souls of the skeleton generals. Each batch of golden armor runes numbered 400, producing 2,400 per minute, and 345,6000 per day. It would take only 145 days to cover all the skeleton generals. By then, the defense of the skeleton generals would be able to withstand the full force attack of a peak divine sovereign. Increased defense meant a significant increase in combat power. However, increasing the combat power of the undead army was only one of Lin Moyu's purposes. The real purpose was for the Path of Runes. He wanted to turn what he had learned and comprehended into reality, to verify and fully master it. Only in this way could he go further and further. The current golden armor rune was not the final result. In the future, as his Path of Runes became stronger, the golden armor rune would continue to strengthen. Ultimately, being able to withstand attacks from the other shore realm or even the Saint Sovereign realm would not be a dream. By then, the undead army would truly be invincible, making all races tremble with fear. 1904. Chapter 1904. Preparations, Master Refiner. After leaving the training room, Lin Moyu sent a message to the Talisman Saint, and the two confirmed the time for the lecture. The lecture would be held in 10 days, and Lin Moyu needed to make some preparations. He took Lin Moyu to the refining area of the Divine City. As the Talisman Saint had mentioned before, he had found the best master refiner in the entire human race. From a distance, Lin Moyu saw an energetic old man. The old man was dressed in a tight red outfit, and his exposed skin also had a reddish hue, making him look like a ball of flame. Just by approaching, Lin Moyu could clearly feel the temperature rising, as if he were getting close to a blazing fire. The old man's aura was heavy, and Lin Moyu immediately recognized that this was a strong person at the other shore realm. The Talisman Saint introduced,
"This is Elder Yen, currently the strongest master refiner in our race."
Lin Moyu immediately saluted Elder Yen.
Junior greets Elder Yen.
Elder Yan's voice was as heavy as his appearance, like muffled thunder.
"No need for formalities, young friend Lin. Although you haven't met me, I've seen you many times. Your talent truly makes me envious."
Lin Moyu humbly replied.
"Elder Yen flatters me. I still have much to learn."
Elder Yen was straightforward.
"Let's get started. Talisman Saint, just tell me what you need."
The Talisman Saint nodded.
"Let's go to the refining room. Young friend Lin will explain the specific requirements to you."
The three of them entered the refining room, where flames were rising, and a complete set of refining tools was available. Given Elder Yan's realm, he actually didn't need these tools for assistance. He himself was the best refining tool. Elder Yen generously said,
"Young friend Lin, just tell me your requirements."
Lin Moyu said,
"I need to refine a treasure that can simultaneously accommodate soul power and runes, with the runes in the treasure needing to connect with the soul."
Elder Yen listened to Lin Moyu's requirements and pondered for a few seconds.
"How strong does the soul power need to be?"
Lin Moyu thought for a moment, then opened his palm, revealing a cluster of soul power.
"This much is enough."
The soul power in his palm was very weak, at most at the true god level. Elder Yen glanced at it.
"That's not difficult. Any other requirements?"
Lin Moyu thought again.
"The soul power contained within must be clearly felt by others, without any obstruction or influence."
Elder Yen fell into deep thought again, muttering to himself,
"No obstruction or influence."
This was the most challenging part. Accommodating soul power wasn't difficult, but any treasure that contained soul power would inevitably bind it, causing some degree of influence. Elder Yen had initially thought that Lin Moyu's requirements were simple and didn't need his personal involvement. Now it seemed that it wasn't something an ordinary refiner could achieve. Ordinary methods wouldn't work. He thought for a long time and finally came up with a solution.
Does it need to be mobile?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
It doesn't need to be mobile, just fixed in one place.
Elder Yen said,
Then I can use an array to bind the soul power, which won't affect it. But doing so might affect the runes.
Lin Moyu said,
We can try it. It's okay to fail a few times.
Elder Yen nodded.
Then let's try it first. I'll start refining.
He took out a piece of white jade, and a ball of flame spurted from his palm. The flame quickly changed from red to deep blue, with the temperature rising sharply, and the white jade began to melt. Strangely, Lin Moyu and the talisman saint didn't feel the temperature increase. All the heat was controlled within a very small range, showcasing Elder Yan's strong control over the flame. The white jade melted into a liquid, and Elder Yan asked,
What shape do you prefer?
Lin Moyu said,
No preference. Elder Yen can decide. Haha, I like your style. Practicality is more important than appearance.
Elder Yen laughed heartily, and with a thought, the white jade liquid began to change according to his will. The white jade liquid quickly formed into a round disc, somewhat resembling an array plate. As the flame's temperature gradually decreased, the white jade liquid began to solidify again. Before it completely solidified, Elder Yen started to carve an array. There are many types of arrays. Rune arrays composed of runes, arrays set up by array masters using various materials, and arrays directly carved into treasures by refiners. The path of arrays is vast and complex. Lin Moyu only understood rune arrays. Meng Anwen in the small world mainly followed the path of rune arrays. However, he also understood ordinary arrays, though not as well as rune arrays. Lin Moyu once thought that if Meng Anwen could come to the big world, he would definitely be an excellent rune master. Moreover, in terms of rune arrays, Meng Anwen's talent surpassed most rune masters in the big world. With his mind full of thoughts, Lin Moyu's eyes remained fixed on Elder Yen carving the array. Arrays and arrays are interconnected, and Lin Moyu could roughly understand the purpose of this array. The array was very simple, with the sole function of binding. But the binding force wasn't strong and was easily breakable. The array was simple and weak, but the advantage was obvious. The array's aura was very faint, almost undetectable. This could achieve what Lin Moyu mentioned, being unaffected. After the array was carved, the flame weakened further until the white jade liquid completely solidified into a white jade disc.
It's done!
Elder Yen said softly, then handed the white jade disc to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt the aura of the white jade disc, his soul probing into it, finding it to be a true god-level treasure. The treasure's aura was very faint, and it could only accommodate true god-level soul power. A master refiner at the other shore realm, using excellent materials, had only refined a true god-level treasure. Elder Yen was not a man of empty reputation, which further proved that he was a true master refiner. Elder Yen said,
In refining, it's not about the higher the grade of the treasure, the better, but about being just right. Being able to refine a true god-level treasure with God's sovereign-level materials is truly impressive.
Lin Moyu deeply agreed, and it was indeed the case. God's sovereign-level materials could easily be refined into God-king-level treasures. Refining them into true God-level treasures was the real challenge. Refining at will, achieving any grade desired, was true skill. Lin Moyu released a cluster of soul power weak and at the true God level, matching the jade disc. Then he quickly drew 2 runes with his fingers. With a slight adjustment of the soul, the 2 runes immediately fused, forming a new rune. The rune Jadefeed, and Lin Moyu easily achieved perfect fusion. These 2 runes were basic runes, serving to stabilize and maintain. With the addition of these 2 runes, the soul power could remain stable for a long time without dissipating. The runes merged into the jade disc without conflicting with the array within, smoothly integrating. Then Lin Moyu adjusted the soul, from stability to vibration, causing the soul power to change continuously. Throughout the process, the jade disc maintained excellent stability. Elder Yen asked,
How is it? Is this feasible?
Although he didn't understand what Lin Moyu needed such a treasure for, he knew it must be useful, or the talisman saint wouldn't have personally accompanied him. Lin Moyu nodded.
It's perfect. Please refine 99 more identical ones.
Elder Yen was stunned, wondering if he had heard wrong. Such items needed 100 pieces, and they had to be identical. He looked puzzled, but the talisman saint said,
Please, Elder Yen.
With the talisman saint speaking, Elder Yen couldn't refuse and immediately took out materials, raised the flame, and began refining. 1905. Chapter 1905. The more chaotic the alien races, the better. Elder Yan's refining speed was very fast, and one jade plate after another quickly took shape. Lin Moyu's actions were also quite swift. He had already prepared the fused runes in advance and embedded them one by one into the jade plates. At the same time, he also infused his soul power into the jade plates. The talisman saint sensed the soul vibrations within the jade plates. In his perception, the souls within the jade plates were identical, with no differences at all. He couldn't help but show a bitter smile, realizing that his soul sensitivity was still not enough. It wasn't until the 20th jade plate appeared that he sensed the difference between this plate and the first one. Clearly, Lin Moyu had increased the vibration frequency of the soul in each jade plate by 1%. If the vibration frequency of the first jade plate was 1, then the vibration frequency of the last one was 2, exactly doubled. A doubling of soul vibration made a significant difference. If one couldn't sense this difference, it only indicated that their talent was too weak and unsuitable for the path of rune fusion. Although soul sensitivity could be improved through training, there were certain limits to how much it could be enhanced. It couldn't be increased indefinitely. In just half a day, 100 jade plates had been refined. Elder Yen stopped and looked at the jade plates.
Young friend Lin, what are you planning to do with these?
Lin Moyu replied,
They will be used for the lecture.
Elder Yen was taken aback.
Recently, there have been rumors among the talisman masters that the talisman saint is going to give a lecture. Is it not the talisman saint who will be lecturing?
The talisman saint chuckled.
It's all just rumors. When did I ever say I was going to give a lecture? The one giving the lecture is young friend Lin. I will merely be one of the listeners.
Elder Yen was even more shocked.
A god venerable giving a lecture, and a saint venerable listening? This is quite.
The talisman saint waved his hand, interrupting Elder Yen.
A master is a master, regardless of age. The path of runes is vast and profound. In some aspects, young friend Lin has already far surpassed me.
Elder Yen was filled with doubt. The talisman saint had achieved the rank of Saint Venerable through the path of runes, yet he claimed that Lin Moyu had surpassed him in some areas. This was hard to believe. He wasn't sure if the talisman saint was being overly modest or if it was indeed the truth. The talisman saint did not offer further explanation. Elder Yan's gaze fell on the 100 jade plates he had refined.
The souls within these jade plates seem different, but I can't pinpoint exactly how.
At this moment, Lin Moyu had already numbered the jade plates from 1 to 100 and arranged them in order. Upon hearing Elder Yan's comment, Lin Moyu immediately said,
Elder Yan, using the first jade plate as a baseline, from which plate do you feel the soul starts to change?
Elder Yen sensed for a moment and then looked at the 15th jade plate.
The change starts from the 15th plate. It's strange. They don't seem different at all.
He could sense the difference but couldn't articulate what it was, which felt very peculiar. The talisman saint laughed.
Elder Yan's soul sensitivity is quite good. Have you considered training in the path of runes?
Elder Yen glared at him.
Is this something to joke about? My Tao heart is unshakable.
The talisman saint laughed heartily.
All right. If Elder Yan is interested in attending the lecture, you are always welcome.
Elder Yen nodded.
That sounds reasonable. Is there anything else that needs refining?
Lin Moyu thought for a moment.
I happen to acquire a warship, but it's damaged. I wonder if Elder Yan could help repair it.
As he spoke, Lin Moyu took out the warship. It floated in his palm, appearing very small before it was unfolded. Elder Yen exclaimed upon seeing the warship.
This is the warship of the 9 Emperors God Venerable.
Lin Moyu was somewhat surprised that Elder Yen recognized it at a glance. Elder Yen took the warship and examined it carefully.
Indeed, it is the warship of the 9 Emperors God Venerable, and it was crafted by me. However, he has been missing for many years. How did this warship end up in your hands?
Lin Moyu recounted his experience of obtaining the warship in the dark void. After sensing it, Elder Yen said,
The core is shattered, and the aura of the 9 Emperors God Venerable has disappeared. It seems he met with misfortune. Previously, the fate-calculating God Venerable predicted that the 9 Emperors God Venerable would face a calamity. It seems he couldn't escape it.
The Talisman Saint added,
Many God Venerables die in the dark void every year. It's not surprising.
He wasn't being cold-hearted. He had simply seen too much life and death over his millennia-long life, making him indifferent to it. Lin Moyu asked,
Can Elder Yen repair it?
Elder Yen nodded.
No problem. Since I crafted it, repairing it won't be difficult, but it will take some time.
Lin Moyu immediately expressed his gratitude. Without the Golden Eagle Clan God Venerable as a mount, having a God Venerable level warship for transportation was a good alternative. Elder Yen began repairing the warship, while the Talisman Saint took Lin Moyu to the Talisman Masters Association in the Divine City. On the way, the Talisman Saint updated Lin Moyu on recent events. The speed of the soul-devouring clan's investigation was gradually accelerating. In 1 year, they had basically completed the investigation of the high-level areas of the Divine City and were now focusing on the mid-level areas. In the high-level areas alone, 108 people were found, including 28 God Venerables and 80 God Kings. Given that there were so many soul-devouring clan members in the high-level areas, the numbers were not small. Moreover, the numbers in the mid-level areas were even higher, indicating that the situation in the low-level and outer areas could be even worse. Not to mention the 4 major star regions and the 4 battlefields. Lin Moyu remarked,
It seems the soul-devouring clan has grand ambitions.
The Talisman Saint nodded.
They have been lying low for 100,000 years, so they must have a big plan. However, we have inadvertently disrupted their plans this time. When they react, there will likely be chaos among the various races.
Lin Moyu said,
As long as our human race remains stable, the more chaotic the alien races, the better.
The more chaotic, the better. This statement was cold, but it was the truth. The big world was cruel. It was best if you were in a dire situation so that I could kick you while you're down. Now, the Human Emperor Network was monitoring the entire human race comprehensively. The soul-devouring clan couldn't even communicate secretly. Any anomaly would be detected by the Human Emperor Network. The human race had already set up a large net, and none of the soul-devouring clan members within it could escape. As for other races, they were full of loopholes. This net was already completely broken, and chaos was inevitable. The two arrived at the Talisman Masters Plaza, the true headquarters and holy land of the human Talisman Masters. A 10-story Talisman Masters tower stood tall, identical to the one in the Human Emperor Network. The Human Emperor Network was a virtual world, and many things within it were projections of the real world, including the Talisman Masters Tower of the Talisman Masters Association. The one in the real world was the original. In the Talisman Masters Tower, Lin Moyu sensed several powerful auras. The Talisman Saint explained,
The Talisman Masters Plaza in the Divine City is the headquarters of the Talisman Masters Association. Only high-level Talisman Masters are qualified to come here. And not all high-level Talisman Masters are eligible to come.
Lin Moyu nodded. He could sense that the high-level Talisman Masters in the tower were all high-level God Venerables, and not just at the 7th level of God Venerable. Some of them were even peak God Venerables, very likely to reach the other shore realm. The plaza was vast, circular, with a diameter of tens of thousands of meters. Around the plaza stood a row of statues, each towering 1,000 meters high, very majestic. According to the Talisman Saint, these statues were of high-level Talisman Masters of the human race. Without exception, they had all made significant contributions to the human race. However, they had all passed away. Lin Moyu paid his respects to each statue. The ancestors of the human race deserved great respect. 1906. Chapter 1906. The lecturer is actually Lin Moyu. Warships arrived from afar, entering the Divine City and coming to the Rune Master Square. Inside were high-level Rune Masters who were also mostly high-level Divine Sovereigns. Though their combat power may not be strong, not as good as those main combat high-level Divine Sovereigns, the role they could play surpassed most high-level Divine Sovereigns. Numerous rune arrays and powerful runes could be applied to treasures, warships, and various other places. The existence of Rune Masters greatly enhanced the combat power of the human race. Rune Masters, Equipment Refiners, and Pill Refiners were also known as Auxiliary Masters, and were indispensable. 10 days later, almost all high-level Rune Masters of the human race had arrived. The total number of high-level Rune Masters exceeded 10,000. They were seated in order according to their ranks in the square. Sitting at the very front were 9th-level Rune Masters, followed by 8th and 7th levels. The ranks were clear and could not be crossed. They faced the Rune Master Pagoda, their gazes finally landing on the 10th floor, with a hint of aspiration in their eyes. Entering the 10th floor of the Rune Master Pagoda was the dream of every
9-3.
Rune Master. Only by surpassing 9th level Rune Master and truly reaching the peak would one qualify to enter. Becoming a Rune Master was not easy. Both effort and talent were indispensable. And to become a high-level Rune Master was 1 in 100. Among high-level Rune Masters, those who could truly surpass the 9th level and reach the peak were even rarer. In the current generation of humans, there were only a handful. 10,000 high-level Rune Masters seemed like a lot, but for the human race's population, it was actually very few. There were even more low-level Rune Masters who were concentrated in the Human Emperor network, waiting to listen in the virtual world. Everything in the real world was faithfully projected into the Human Emperor network. The Rune Masters were very patient. The whole venue was quiet, so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Half a day later, the Rune Master Pagoda, which had remained motionless, suddenly lit up. The light burst from the bottom floor, spreading upwards level by level. Countless runes flew out from the pagoda, dancing in the air like millions of beautiful butterflies, interweaving in the sky to form a colorful, auspicious cloud, incredibly magnificent and beautiful. These runes continued to interweave and change in the air, forming various beautiful scenes, constantly changing, leaving people in awe. When the 10th floor of the Rune Master Pagoda also lit up, 3 people flew out.
It's the president. And 2 elders.
In the current world, only 3 people could enter the 10th floor of the pagoda. Apart from President Fu Xingzuan, there were 2 elders. Their attainment in runes had reached the realm of transformation, far surpassing ordinary people. Just as everyone thought Fu Xingzuan was going to lecture them, the 3 flew to the front of all the Rune Masters in front of the pagoda and turned to face the pagoda. The gazes of the 3 fell on the top of the pagoda, and everyone followed their gaze, seeing that there was actually another person above the top of the pagoda. Lin Moyu sat cross-legged in mid-air, his eyes slightly closed, appearing to be in deep thought. In front of the Rune Master Pagoda, the 10,000 high-level Rune Masters had strange looks in their eyes, but still maintained silence without discussion. But in the Human Emperor network, it had already exploded.
Who is this? How can he be at the top of the pagoda? This is Master Lin. Master Lin is at the top of the pagoda. Could it be that the lecturer this time is Master Lin? Heavens, has Master Lin become so strong that even the president has to listen to his lecture? I'm really looking forward to what Master Lin will lecture on.
When Lin Moyu was enlightening before, many mid- and low-level Rune Masters had benefited from Lin Moyu's grace. Though there was no formal master-disciple relationship, there was a de facto one. They regarded Lin Moyu as their teacher, calling him Master Lin with great enthusiasm. It was as if Lin Moyu being able to lecture was also their glory.
Silence!
A loud voice rang out from the Human Emperor network. It was Fu Shengzuan's voice, and the Human Emperor Network immediately fell silent. Then Fu Shengzuan continued.
This lecture will be presided over by Lin Moyu. Everyone, please listen carefully and do not speak.
As his words fell, whether in reality or in the Human Emperor Network, all extraneous noise completely disappeared. Lin Moyu also opened his eyes at this moment, with runes faintly jumping in his eyes, and his aura rapidly rising. The other shore realm soul fully erupted at this moment, waves of powerful soul pressure sweeping out. The Human Emperor Network also transmitted this change in real time. Whether in the real world or the Human Emperor Network, all were enveloped by the soul pressure.
Such strong pressure. This youth has such a strong soul. This youth's soul fear has already produced purple from jade, reaching the peak of 4th grade. In the future, stepping into the other shore realm is certain. With such talent, he cannot be underestimated.
In reality, the high-level rune masters' hearts trembled. They were all high-level divine sovereigns, but at this moment they had the illusion of facing someone from the other shore realm. At this moment, they finally truly acknowledged Lin Moyu. Section 2194/23692195. Lin Moyu waved his hand, and 100 jade plates flew out, arranged in a row from left to right according to their numbers. Even Fu Shengzuan found it difficult to perceive the soul vibrations and changes in the 100 jade plates, but the Human Emperor Network could perfectly replicate them. At that time, Lin Moyu found it strange why the Human Emperor Network could perfectly replicate the soul vibration frequency but could not deduce the method for perfect rune fusion. Logically, it shouldn't be like this. But that was the fact, and Lin Moyu didn't know why either. Lin Moyu's voice came out neither heavily nor lightly.
This lecture will focus on 2 points. First, the way of rune fusion. Second, the way of creating runes with arrays.
As he spoke, Lin Moyu's fingers moved slightly, quickly drawing several runes. He casually picked 2. His soul moved, becoming a bridge, and the 2 runes immediately fused with each other. The runes merged smoothly, fusing without any hitches.
So fast. When did rune fusion become so simple?
Everyone was stunned. Even those high-level rune masters were dumbfounded. They had never seen rune fusion happen so quickly before. In just 2 seconds, the runes had completed fusion. Then an even more magical scene occurred. The runes jadified, the illusory runes turning into a beautiful piece of jade, meaning the runes had perfectly fused. Everyone present held their breath, eyes wide open, watching such a magical scene. Not only was it fast, but it was also a perfect fusion. Then Lin Moyu quickly fused other runes. Each time was fast, and each time was a perfect fusion. Everyone's eyes grew wider and wider, almost popping out of their sockets, mouths agape, unable to speak. These high-level rune masters all lost their composure. Not just them. Even the 2 elders beside Fu Shengzuan were extremely shocked at this moment. Everyone had only one question in their hearts.
How is this done? When did perfect rune fusion become so simple?
At the same time, they also began to get excited. What Lin Moyu was going to lecture on was the way of rune fusion. Did this also mean that they would have the chance to reach this level? After perfectly fusing 10 runes in succession, Lin Moyu formally began his lecture.
All souls have differences, subtle differences.
He used the most straightforward language to explain the greatest principles. Everyone present could understand. If they couldn't understand, they weren't qualified to be rune masters. He made people understand what soul vibration was, how to control the vibration of the soul, and how to improve sensitivity. The 100 jade plates were the best example. Lin Moyu told everyone that the soul clusters in the 100 jade plates were all different, and they needed to constantly sense and feel their differences. When they could sense the differences between them, it meant that their soul sensitivity had reached a passing level. Lin Moyu even set standards for this, divided into pass, good, excellent, and perfect. 1907. Chapter 1907. The True Way to Earn Merit in the Divine City. The 4 standards set by Lin Moyu had vastly different requirements. Among the 100 jade plates, the soul vibration frequency between plate number 1 and plate number 100 differed by a factor of 2. If one could sense the difference between the two, they were considered qualified. If one could sense the difference between plate number 1 and plate number 50, they were considered good. If one could sense the difference between plate number 1 and plate number 20, they were considered excellent. If one could sense the difference between plate number 1 and plate number 5, they were considered perfect. In Lin Moyu's setup, if a person was naturally qualified in terms of soul sensitivity, it already proved they had a decent talent for being a talisman master. With training, their soul sensitivity could be further enhanced, enough to make them a high-level talisman master. In the path of rune fusion, they could also achieve good results. If they were good, they had the chance to become an 8th or even 9th rank talisman master. For those who were excellent, becoming a 9th rank talisman master was not a problem, and they even had the chance to surpass the 9th rank. As for those who were perfect, they would undoubtedly surpass the 9th rank and have the qualifications to achieve perfect rune fusion like Lin Moyu. The talisman saint and the 2 elders belonged to the excellent standard, still a bit short of perfect. Lin Moyu didn't know if there were any people among the listeners who could reach the excellent standard. But that wasn't his concern. He was only responsible for lecturing. The rest was the talisman saint's concern. After explaining the path of rune fusion, Lin Moyu began to explain the method of using arrays to create talismans. Many people thought that using arrays to create talismans required the assistance of array masters. It wasn't until Lin Moyu explained that they understood that what he meant by using arrays to create talismans was actually using talisman arrays for mass production of runes. This idea was almost fantastical, something they had never thought possible. But Lin Moyu completely shattered their worldview, personally demonstrating the entire process of using arrays to create talismans. He explained all his concepts, and how much they could understand depended on the individual. Lin Moyu taught everything, but he didn't guarantee everyone would learn it. Throughout the lecture, no one made a sound. No matter how shocked or incredulous they were, they remained silent. The lecture lasted for 3 days and 3 nights, during which Lin Moyu thoroughly explained the methods of rune fusion and using arrays to create talismans. After the lecture ended, Lin Moyu left, leaving behind 100 jade plates and a talisman array. The talisman array continued to operate, constantly producing runes, continuously proving to everyone that using arrays to create talismans was feasible. After Lin Moyu left, the entire talisman master square was silent for a long time. However, their soul power had already spread out, each person sensing the jade plates, verifying their own soul sensitivity. Everyone wanted to know which level they belonged to. Lin Moyu's lecture covered 2 aspects: rune fusion and talisman arrays. Regardless of which path they chose, they benefited greatly. The talisman saint slowly flew up, pointing his finger outside the square. In the previously empty space, a 1,000-meter-tall statue rose from the ground. The statue was none other than Lin Moyu. The talisman saint's voice boomed,
Master Lin has deciphered the secret of rune fusion and pioneered the method of using arrays to create talismans. He is qualified to have a statue.
His voice echoed throughout the divine city. Lin Moyu's statue not only appeared in the real world but also next to the talisman tower in the Human Emperor network. From this moment on, Lin Moyu stood alongside the many sages of the human race. The talisman masters all bowed to Lin Moyu's statue, calling him Master Lin. With one lecture, Lin Moyu became the teacher of all talisman masters of the human race. A vast amount of faith power surged towards Lin Moyu. In an instant, the faith power he received exceeded what he usually gained in hundreds of days. Over this period, Lin Moyu had already accumulated a considerable amount of faith power. At this moment, it nearly doubled, and Lin Moyu's faith power exceeded 400,000 units. Adding the faith tokens he had, he could now mobilize up to 1 million units of faith power. Lin Moyu headed towards the training room. After the lecture, he needed to continue his cultivation. He recalled the words of the talisman saint.
Lecturing is not just about passing on your methods. It is also for yourself. Lecturing will bring you rewards, and these rewards will be continuous.
At this moment, Lin Moyu understood the meaning behind the Talisman Saint's words. The faith power from the Talisman Masters was not a one-time surge but would continue to flow. Even if it gradually leveled off, it would still add nearly 200 units of faith power to him daily. Combined with his previous gains, he could increase his faith power by 600 units daily. This speed was not slow among all the god venerables. Just as he returned to the training room, Lin Moyu suddenly received a notification from the Human Emperor Network. For deciphering the secret of rune fusion, you are awarded 10,000 merit points in the Divine City and 2 contribution points. For pioneering the method of using arrays to create talismans, you are awarded 10,000 merit points in the Divine City and 2 contribution points. For lecturing and being revered by all talisman masters, having a statue erected in your honor, and being remembered in history, you are awarded 10,000 merit points in the Divine City and 1 contribution point. Lin Moyu was stunned. One lecture had brought him such great rewards. The so-called difficult-to-earn merit points in the Divine City didn't seem difficult at all. He had just been promoted to the intermediate level and had planned to explore some secret realms to strive for a promotion to the advanced level within a few years. But now, he suddenly had over 60,000 merit points. He was not far from the 100,000 points needed to be promoted to the advanced level.
It seems that the true way to earn merit points in the Divine City is not by exploring secret realms. The real way is to contribute to the human race. The greater the contribution, the higher the reward. Exploring secret realms is also a contribution, but it doesn't benefit the majority, so the rewards are relatively less.
Lin Moyu had an epiphany, but exploring secret realms was still necessary. Exploring secret realms benefited not only the human race but also himself. The understanding and gains from ancient runes in secret realms were not much less than merit points in the Divine City. If it weren't for the current issue with the soul-devouring clan, he might have gone to explore a secret realm. The door of the training room closed softly, and Lin Moyu's mind also calmed down. He sat cross-legged in the center. He was now a god venerable and could cultivate the second or even the third law. Some god venerables walked the path of a single law. They did not cultivate multiple laws, focusing on just one from beginning to end. For example, Zhu Qiwu only cultivated the star-shattering law. But many god venerables cultivated multiple laws. In Lin Moyu's view, there was no superiority between the two methods. Regardless of the method, they ultimately led to the same destination. This was different from the path of runes, offering more freedom. Lin Moyu had already decided to cultivate both the space law and the time law simultaneously. Adding his innate undying law, he would cultivate 3 laws together. Although this would be slower, once successful, his future path would be smoother, and his combat power would significantly increase.
Let's start with time.
With a thought, he lightly pointed his finger, and a red light suddenly illuminated the training room. White star-level spell. Time curse. Without a target, the curse had no effect. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and threw out a true god-level treasure. He didn't know where it came from, but he had many such items. He pointed his finger again, and the time curse activated a second time, landing on the treasure. A red light appeared on the treasure, and a red sword mark appeared on it, indicating the curse. 1908. Chapter 1908. Beginning to cultivate new laws. The characteristic of the time curse is that it can curse both living beings and artifacts. With a thought, the speed of the curse suddenly accelerated, instantly reaching 1,000 times the limit of the spell. A peculiar aura spread out, which was the aura of the time law. Lin Moyu was delighted and was about to carefully sense it. The true god-level artifact emitted a crisp sound and then shattered. Couldn't withstand the power of the curse and was completely destroyed. With the artifact's collapse, the curse also disappeared.
True god level is too weak. Or maybe the time acceleration was too fast.
Lin Moyu pondered, then threw out another true god-level artifact. White star-level spell. Time curse. This time, he increased the curse's activation speed to 10 times, allowing the true god-level artifact to endure for a longer period. However, the aura of the time law also became extremely weak. Lin Moyu tried to sense it, but even with his soul's sensitivity, it was difficult to detect anything. If it were someone else, they probably wouldn't sense anything at all. At most, they could recognize that there was a component of the time law within, but nothing more. Trying to comprehend the time law from it was impossible. It was like training in a time room. The time stone could accelerate time, but you couldn't comprehend the time law from the time stone. After several attempts, Lin Moyu muttered to himself,
If the curse's acceleration is below 100 times, it's basically useless. The best method is to maintain the curse at 1,000 times and sustain it for a period. I need something that can withstand the curse's power for a long time.
Lin Moyu tried several artifacts. Even God-venerable level artifacts could only endure for an hour under the time curse. An hour was a drop in the bucket for comprehending laws. Comprehending laws often took years. An hour was nothing, ending before it even began. Knowing what he lacked, Lin Moyu temporarily stopped trying to comprehend the time law. Unfolding the wings of the undead, a large amount of soul power was injected into the wings of the undead. The wings of the undead began to vibrate violently, so fast that even afterimages were invisible. From a distance, the wings of the undead seemed motionless. Gradually, cracks appeared in the space around the wings of the undead. The familiar space law began to emanate from the wings of the undead. Like comprehending the time law, comprehending the space law also required a price. The price was Lin Moyu's soul power. Vibrating the wings of the undead to reveal the space law required a massive amount of soul power. Lin Moyu relentlessly pushed his soul power, while the world tree continuously replenished it. Activating the wings of the undead to trigger the space law consumed soul power, and comprehending the space law also consumed soul power. With both efforts combined, Lin Moyu's soul power poured out like a waterfall. Without the world tree's continuous replenishment, he wouldn't last long. Lin Moyu multitasked, controlling the wings of the undead to continuously trigger the space law while simultaneously comprehending it. Compared to the time law, Lin Moyu found the space law simpler, at least not requiring additional items. He constantly adjusted, maintaining a balance between replenishment and consumption. Days passed, and Lin Moyu immersed himself in the ocean of laws, freely exploring. In front of the Talisman Master Square, the high-level Talisman Masters remained. They continuously sensed their jade plates, training their soul sensitivity according to Lin Moyu's method. The same was true in the Human Emperor network, where mid- and low-level Talisman Masters did the same. They all used the first jade plate as a baseline, comparing it with the others.
Haha, I sense the 88th jade plate. I sense the 86th jade plate. I've improved by 1. You only improved by 1, I've improved by 3. I directly sense the 67th jade plate. There really is a difference. I thought they were the same before. Master Lin is amazing. How did he discover this? If he hadn't said it, I wouldn't have noticed. It turns out there are so many nuances in rune fusion.
On the other side, a talisman array continued to operate. Basic runes flew out from the array. The structure of the array was simple, but in the eyes of talisman masters who followed the path of arrays, it was a holy artifact. They studied the array as if on a pilgrimage. Some had already tried to set up similar arrays themselves, but all ended in failure. Knowing was one thing. Being able to do it was another. This made them admire Lin Moyu even more. The talisman saint also went into seclusion, continuing to study the runes to identify the soul-devouring clan. He also needed to train his soul. Multitasking was not difficult for him. The scale of the soul-devouring clan's investigation was rapidly expanding, now covering the mid-level areas of the Divine City. The scope was larger than the high-level areas, and more people were being investigated daily. Many cultivators in the high-level areas who had been cleared of suspicion also turned into investigators, joining the effort. Lin Moyu's Death Knights became their best assistants. The human race's principle was simple: discover and kill with no mercy. The soul-devouring clan had caused significant damage to the human race, and the enmity was generational, a matter of life and death. However, the situation reported from the mid-level areas was not optimistic. The Celestial Venerable and How Venerable had been gloomy recently, unable to be happy with the daily data from the Human Emperor network. The soul-devouring clan had infiltrated too deeply. 100,000 years had given them ample time to penetrate. If the situation was like this in the Divine City, the 4 major star regions and the 4 battlefields were unimaginable. Fortunately, the infiltration in the War God Temple and the army was not severe, so the human race's foundation was not threatened. Nearly 2 years after the investigation began, they finally received intelligence from other races. The Celestial Venerable looked at the intelligence with joy in his eyes.
There are 2 other Shore Realm demons in the demon clan confirmed to be from the soul-devouring clan. One is from the Hell lineage, and the other from the Abyss lineage. It's said they fought in their ancestral land, destroying a third of it and causing countless casualties.
The How Venerable laughed.
The 3 Silver clan isn't doing much better. They also have 2 other Shore Realm members confirmed to be from the soul-devouring clan. Moreover, the soul-devouring clan members in the 3 Silver clan collectively revolted. The number is astonishing.
The 3 Silver clan erupted into civil war. The soul-devouring clan members were numerous and included other Shore Realm beings, directly confronting the true 3 Silver clan members. All races, to varying degrees, faced some troubles. For the human race, this was good news. The Starry Sky Fish clan was the most peaceful during this soul-devouring clan disaster. According to current information, no soul-devouring clan members had been found within their clan. Having been hidden for so long, it was difficult for the soul-devouring clan to infiltrate them. Half a year later, the door to Lin Moyu's cultivation chamber opened again. Lin Moyu flew out and headed directly to the refining area. He sent a message to Elder Yen, asking for his help in refining something. Elder Yen agreed immediately, asking Lin Moyu to find him in the refining area. In the refining area, the temperature was scorching, and Elder Yen was forging iron. However, his forging was peculiar. He didn't move but used his soul to forge. Each strike infused a bit of soul power. Moreover, Elder Yen was forging the base of a large hammer. Lin Moyu could see that Elder Yen wasn't truly forging it but was integrating his soul power into it to increase the fusion between his soul and the hammer. Without turning his head, Elder Yen focused on controlling his soul.
Wait a moment, it will be done soon.
1909. Chapter 1909. It seems the human race needs the time law. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry, and he admired Elder Yan's hammer. This method of forcibly injecting soul power into a treasure through forging can greatly enhance the compatibility between the treasure and oneself, thereby exerting stronger combat power. Compared to simply nurturing with the soul, this method is more effective. However, it also has problems. If the soul forging force is not well controlled or is uneven, it can also damage the treasure itself. Elder Yan's skill was undoubtedly excellent, and this skill required years of practice. It wasn't something one could learn just by wanting to. After rhythmically forging over 1,000 times, Elder Yen put away his soul power and the treasure, then looked at Lin Moyu.
Young friend Lin, what brings you here?
Lin Moyu directly stated his purpose.
I want to trouble Elder Yen to forge something for me.
Lin Moyu explained his requirements. What he needed wasn't a treasure, even just materials would do. The key was that he needed Elder Yen to reinforce it so that it could withstand the power of the curse. After hearing Lin Moyu's requirements, Elder Yen directly took out a high-grade God Sovereign level material.
Try this and see if it works.
This material looked like a mirror surface, seemingly able to reflect all light. Elder Yen explained,
This is called Mirror Light Stone. It can reflect most attacks and is one of the more solid materials among God's sovereign level materials.
Lin Moyu cast the curse on the mirror light stone, then immediately accelerated the curse 1,078,000 times. After just 1 minute, a tiny crack appeared on the mirror light stone. Elder Yan's pupils contracted as he looked at Lin Moyu.
Why do I feel that in your spell? There's a hint of the time law.
Lin Moyu said,
I can make the curse's damage burst out in a short time, which indeed can trigger a bit of the time law.
Elder Yen said.
You want to use this characteristic to comprehend the time law?
Lin Moyu frankly admitted.
Yes.
Elder Yen pondered for a few seconds, then sighed.
This is very difficult. There are many things that can trigger the time law, but it's almost impossible to comprehend the time law from them. At least in human history, no one has done it before.
Lin Moyu said.
I want to try.
Elder Yen didn't object.
It's good to try. Someone has to attempt it anyway. If you can really comprehend the time law, you'll be creating a precedent in human history.
As he spoke, he took back that piece of mirror light stone. The mirror light stone only withstood one round of the curse before cracking. Clearly not suitable. Lin Moyu's curse spell was very powerful. The mirror light stone could resist most attacks, but it couldn't reflect the power of the curse. The characteristics of the mirror light stone couldn't be brought into play, making it seem somewhat fragile. Elder Yen took out another material. This time the material was of a higher grade, emitting an aura of the other shore realm. Judging by Elder Yan's cautious manner, this material was obviously very precious to him as well. This material was about the size of 2 fists. Elder Yan's palm generated a deep blue flame, and he began to burn the material. The material gradually weakened in the flame. Then Elder Yen turned his palm into a sword and directly cut off a small piece. This small piece was only about 1/10 of the entire material. Lin Moyu couldn't help but laugh wryly. He wanted to say,
Do you really need to be so stingy?
Elder Yen seemed to have heard Lin Moyu's inner thoughts.
This material is called ancient gold. It's very precious and was obtained from an ancient ruin. I've treasured it for many years. If it weren't for you asking, I wouldn't be willing to give it away.
So it was a material obtained from an ancient ruin. That indeed made it very precious. Elder Yen maintained the flame and continued to heat the material while explaining.
Ancient gold has very strong toughness and can withstand a lot of damage. Most importantly, it has the characteristic of self-repair. I'll engrave self-repair arrays on it, as well as arrays to enhance defense. It should be enough to withstand your spell.
Lin Moyu immediately expressed his gratitude.
Thank you, Elder Yen.
Elder Yen waved his hand.
No need for such formalities. I also hope you can comprehend the time law.
The ancient gold became increasingly soft, and Elder Yen took out a large hammer and began forging. After all, it was an other shore realm material. Refining it wasn't as easy as refining the white jade plate earlier. Even Elder Yen had to use tools. The hammer struck again and again, and the ancient gold was hammered into a square gold block. The ancient gold was small, only about the size of a baby's fist. But after Elder Yan's operation, the ancient gold became a hollow cube, actually expanding a bit in volume. Then Elder Yen began to engrave arrays. There were not just 1, but 6 arrays, located on the 6 faces of the cube. Of the 6 arrays, 3 provided self-repairability, and 3 provided strong defensive power. With the 6 arrays working together, combined with the self-repair characteristic of the ancient gold, the defensive power was already very strong. Elder Yen handed the finished ancient gold cube to Lin Moyu.
I hope you can really comprehend the time law from this.
Lin Moyu seemed to hear some other meaning in his words. It seemed Elder Yen placed great importance on the time law. Lin Moyu took the ancient gold.
I'll do my best.
In front of Elder Yen, he tried his time curse. After 10 consecutive curses, the ancient gold showed no change. To be precise, it did receive some damage, but it quickly self-repaired, almost imperceptible to the naked eye. The sustained ability of the ancient gold was verified, and Lin Moyu was very satisfied with this material and very grateful to Elder Yen. Bidding farewell to Elder Yen, Lin Moyu returned to the training room to officially begin cultivating the time law. He had cultivated the space law for half a year and gained some insights, although he hadn't truly comprehended it yet. At least he had found a path. Lin Moyu decisively stopped and turned to cultivate the time law. He wanted to advance both laws simultaneously, keeping them not too far apart from each other. It wouldn't do to have one already entered while the other hadn't even found a clue. At Star Elder's place, he had seen the power of fused laws. He finally understood that outside his small world, those god sovereigns had died under the combined effect of the time and space laws. It was the time law that blinded the god sovereigns' perception, causing their senses to become chaotic. The space law then shattered their bodies, causing them to die without understanding why. Lin Moyu guessed that when the time and space laws fused together, they could form an extremely terrifying power. At that moment, he made up his mind to fuse the two laws together. The time curse was cast again and again, continuously accelerating, as Lin Moyu tirelessly sensed the time law. 7 years had passed since Lin Moyu went into seclusion. The human race had finally completed the investigation of the entire Divine City Star region. As the several Saint Sovereigns had predicted, in the middle, lower, and outer areas of the Divine City, the number of soul-devouring clan members increased exponentially. How Saint Sovereign looked at the data compiled by the Human Emperor Network, his gaze extremely complex.
In the Divine City Star region, there are 3,548 God Sovereigns, 162,328 God Kings, 3.46 million True Gods, and 16.78 million Super God Realm. A total of over 20 million soul-devouring clan members. Well done indeed.
He said these words through gritted teeth. After 7 years of investigation, they had uncovered over 20 million people who had been body-snatched. The death of 20 million people could be said to be the most severe loss for the human race in many years. Ironically, they didn't even die on the battlefield. The Celestial Saint Sovereign said in a deep voice,
After 100,000 years of dormancy, the soul-devouring clan's infiltration has indeed penetrated very deeply. If we hadn't accidentally discovered them this time, I'm afraid in another 100,000 years, the entire human race would be in chaos. The Divine City is still fine. The Human Emperor Network's control is strong enough. The 4 major star regions and the 4 battlefields are the real trouble. The Human Emperor Network isn't strong enough there yet.
At this moment, someone flew in from outside the hall. Seeing the newcomer, both the Celestial Saint Sovereign and How Saint Sovereign's faces lit up with joy. 1910. Chapter 1910. Best to kill half and leave half. The Talisman Saint finally emerged after nearly 7 years of seclusion. His appearance could mean one of 2 outcomes. Either he failed in his research on runes, or he succeeded and developed the corresponding talisman array. Seeing the expression on the Talisman Saint's face, they knew it was undoubtedly a success. Before the Celestial Saint and How Saint could ask, the Talisman Saint spoke first.
2 things. First, the talisman array has been developed, but it requires Elder Yan's cooperation to refine the array disk. I will go find him later. Second, I just received news that the 3 Silver Clan is in chaos. The Howling Sky Saint of the Silver Dog Clan is a member of the Soul-Devouring Clan. Under the control of the Howling Sky Saint, most of the Silver Dog Clan members have become part of the Soul-Devouring Clan. There are also other Shore Realm beings and some god venerables in the Silver Heron Clan and Silver Snake Clan who belong to the Soul-Devouring Clan. They have joined forces with the Silver Dog Clan to start an internal conflict. It can be imagined that after this internal conflict, the strength of the 3 Silver Clan will be at least halved.
The Talisman Saint quickly finished speaking. The first matter didn't require the involvement of House Saint and Celestial Saint. He could resolve it by finding Elder Yen himself. The key was the second matter. After the soul-devouring clan incident had fermented for 7 years, the 3 Silver Clan finally fell into chaos. Although it took much longer than expected, the result was the same. The Talisman Saint Su family was the largest intelligence source for the human race, and his information was never wrong. After speaking, the Talisman Saint left directly to find Elder Yen to refine the array disk. Now the problem fell on Celestial Saint and House Saint. As the master of the Divine City, Celestial Saint could be said to be the current leader of the human race. House Saint, on the other hand, acted like a strategist. Most major decisions in the human race were made after discussions between the two. Celestial Saint said,
According to the plan, should we take advantage of the situation?
How Saint pondered for a moment, weighing the pros and cons.
100,000 years ago, the Three Silver Clan was actually three small clans. They joined forces back then, seized a lot of our resources, and many cultivation methods, eventually growing into a strong clan. This grudge must be avenged. Their internal conflict is a good opportunity.
Celestial Saint said,
I'm considering whether to ask the Starry Sky Fish Clan for some manpower to wipe out the Three Silver Clan in one fell swoop.
How Saint shook his head.
I don't think it's necessary. The Three Silver Clan is different from the Buddha clan. They still have many clansmen in the outer regions, so it's impossible to truly wipe them out. Letting 100,000 escape or letting 1 million escape makes little difference. Moreover, the Starry Sky Fish Clan will also have their conditions. Last time we cooperated because we had no choice, and both sides got what they needed. The 100,000 warships we left with them are still being modified. Last year, we received news that only 10,000 had been modified, so it's still early. Also, all races are busy with the soul-devouring clan issue. As long as we act quickly, by the time they react, it will be a done deal. We just need to remember one thing. We are going to kill, not to occupy territory. We don't want the Three Silver Clan star regions. Whoever wants them can take them.
How Saint weighed the pros and cons and decided not to join forces with the Starry Sky Fish Clan this time. With the strength of the human race, even at its peak, the Three Silver Clan could be wiped out. The only concern was whether other races would intervene. If the human race's actions were too large, causing other races to unite, it would not be a good thing. Even if the human race wasn't afraid, it would come at a significant cost. Now, taking advantage of the chaos caused by the soul-devouring clan was indeed a good opportunity. Celestial Saint agreed with How Saint's words.
You're right. Let's discuss the specific details.
How Saint smiled.
I've thought it through. This time, we need to be swift and precise, without using too many people, and our actions must be small.
The two saints began to carefully plan and discuss. Their decisions would determine the life and death of a race. Half a year later, the human race's investigation of the soul-devouring clan finally extended from the Divine City to the 4 major star regions. From this moment on, the 4 major star regions were completely sealed off, allowing entry but not exit. A formation called the Truth Verification Array began to be widely deployed in the 4 major star regions. Everyone had to pass the test of the Truth Verification Array and also swear an oath under the surveillance of the Human Emperor Network. At the same time, a large number of personnel from the Divine City Star region entered the 4 major star regions to conduct investigations. Accompanying them were the terrifying Death Knights. With the Truth Verification Pill, the Truth Verification Array, and the Great World Oath, not a single fish could escape the net. Because of the addition of the Truth Verification Array, which replaced part of the function of the Truth Verification Pill, the efficiency greatly increased. All discovered members of the soul-devouring clan were killed on the spot without any reason. The threat of the soul-devouring clan was too great, leaving no room for negotiation. Under the management and surveillance of the Human Emperor Network, the soul-devouring clan members lurking within the human race had almost no hope of escaping. At the same time as the investigation in the 4 major star regions began, the door of Lin Moyu's cultivation chamber suddenly opened. After more than 7 years of seclusion, Lin Moyu left the cultivation chamber and reappeared. In 7 years, his cultivation hadn't increased at all, but his temperament had changed significantly. He now exuded an extraordinary and transcendent aura. Lin Moyu restrained his aura, and after a few seconds, he returned to his original appearance. He looked in the direction of the central divine temple of the Divine City, lifted his foot, and the space in front of him twisted, causing him to disappear instantly. In the next second, he had crossed hundreds of thousands of miles and appeared at the entrance of the central divine temple. He didn't fly over but traveled through space. After 7 years of comprehension, Lin Moyu finally stepped into the door of the space law. Although he couldn't yet open the space gate and travel billions of miles in an instant like Yuqin grew, He could already teleport millions of miles without any problem. Now, space appeared completely different in Lin Moyu's eyes. Space was like waves, constantly undulating in a unique way. However, this undulation didn't manifest on the surface and had no effect on the surface space. Beneath the surface, there were countless space undercurrents. By following these undercurrents, he could achieve short-distance teleportation. Lin Moyu entered the central divine temple, where Celestial Saint and House Saint had been waiting for a long time. He had received a transmission from the two saints, prompting him to end his seclusion early. Otherwise, he would have continued to comprehend the space and time laws, even attempting to fuse the two laws initially.
Senior, what instructions do you have for me?
Lin Moyu asked directly. Since they interrupted his cultivation, it must be something important. Celestial Saint quickly explained the situation with the Three Silver Clan. Lin Moyu understood that this was indeed a rare opportunity. If they missed it, it would be difficult to deal with the Three Silver Clan once they recovered from the internal conflict. Moreover, they had to consider whether other races would intervene. House Saint said,
It's been half a year since their internal conflict began. During this time, their conflicts have intensified, and many god venerables have died. Even some other shore realm beings have been injured. We believe it's the right time to intervene. Celestial Saint and I have discussed it and decided to take action. Now we want to hear your opinion.
At some point, Lin Moyu's opinion had become important, even to the saints. Lin Moyu didn't think for long.
Based on the intelligence, it is indeed time to take action. But our scale should not be too large, and we must act swiftly and decisively. Also, unlike the Buddha clan, we shouldn't leave no survivors. It's best to kill half and leave half. We don't want their star regions. After killing, we should retreat.
1911. Chapter 1911. The Severed Finger of the Past Buddha. Under the watchful eyes of the two saints, Lin Moyu explained his thoughts in detail. The goal of the human race was not to completely destroy the Three Silver Clan. Completely destroying them was too difficult and required extensive preparations. But now, the opportunity was fleeting, and there wasn't enough time for extensive preparations. Therefore, the best approach this time was to launch a blitzkrieg and severely damage the Three Silver Clan directly. As for killing half and leaving half, Lin Moyu had his own ideas. In his plan, after this blitzkrieg, the Three Silver Clan would be thoroughly weakened. Moreover, they wouldn't quell the internal strife within the Three Silver Clan. They might even exacerbate it. As a result, the Three Silver Clan would continue to decline for a period of time. It was entirely possible for them to fall from a powerful clan to an ordinary one, and they happened to occupy a large number of star regions and vast resources.
217.
The nearby clans, as long as they weren't too foolish, could seize the opportunity to kill and take territory from the Three Silver Clan. The big world is cruel. You may not kill others, but you can't stop others from killing you. Not only would the slightly weaker clans take action, but even some stronger clans might come to take a share. After this battle, the complete decline of the Three Silver Clan was inevitable. Lin Moyu's suggestion received full support from the two saints, and they then discussed the specific details. Only half a day later, a warship left the Divine City, opening a space gate in the dark starry sky and disappearing in an instant. The warship, modified by the Starry Sky Fish Clan, had the ability to traverse space, could navigate the deepest layers of space at astonishing speeds. From the Divine City to the heart of the Three Silver Clan, it would take less than 2 days. The warship carried 1,000 peak god venerables and 10 other shore realm experts. In addition, there were Lin Moyu, Celestial Saint, and House Saint. Celestial Saint explained the entire plan to everyone and assigned tasks. The Three Silver Clan had already split into 2 factions internally. One was the normal Three Silver Clan members, and the other was the soul-devouring clan disguised as the Three Silver Clan. The 2 factions were at war, and the main objective of this operation was speed, to inflict heavy damage on the Three Silver Clan as quickly as possible and kill their top forces. Of course, they might cease fighting afterward, but by then it would be too late, and other clans would surely seize the opportunity to take advantage. In the warship, 1,000 peak god venerables and 10 other shore realm experts were ready for action. 2 days later, the warship appeared in the star region of the Three Silver Clan. A massive array disk flew out from the warship, landing on a shattered star. The warship continued to navigate, appearing in various areas of the Three Silver Clan's star region, dropping identical array disks. After 3 more days, the warship had silently deployed nearly 10,000 array disks throughout the Three Silver Clan's star region. Finally, the warship stopped in the core area of the Three Silver Clan. Here, the Star River was shattered. Many star systems had collapsed, and flames burned in the starry sky as if trying to burn through the void. These were the corpses of stars, carrying their unwillingness, gradually dimming in the starry sky, approaching the end of their lives. More planetary corpses lay in ruins, becoming the graves of countless beings. The power of saints, other shore realm experts, and god venerables rampaged through the starry sky. A great battle had recently taken place here. Lin Moyu could feel the lingering wails of souls, filled with fear, longing for life, and harboring resentment and hatred. Celestial Saint whispered,
"Begin."
His command was like a death notice, causing the temperature of the entire star region to drop by dozens of degrees. The flames of the remaining star corpses flickered, trembling in fear. The 10,000 array disks previously deployed simultaneously activated, transforming into massive disks over 100,000 meters in diameter, with spires at their centers. These spires were clearly not of human origin, with water ripples emanating from them, a product of the Starry Sky Fish Clan. The ripples vibrated through space, instantly sealing it. The star region of the Three Silver Clan fell into a quagmire, rendering all teleportation tools and treasures ineffective. Teleportation arrays fell silent, ceasing to function. The 10,000 array disks connected, sealing off the entire star region of the Three Silver Clan. From within the array disks, countless skeleton generals flew out. These were prearranged within the disks, each disk essentially a barracks. Each disk contained 10,000 skeleton generals, totaling 100 million skeleton generals across the 10,000 disks. Each skeleton general had the combat power of a 6th-level god venerable, and with the golden armor talisman, they could withstand a peak god venerable's attack. Moreover, they could revive repeatedly, making them extremely difficult to kill. With Celestial Saint's command, the skeleton generals swarmed out, attacking the nearest star systems. The skeleton generals had no emotions, knew no fear, and were the most loyal and fearless war machines. It was foreseeable that countless members of the Three Silver Clan would die under their swords. Numerous star systems of the Three Silver Clan would be destroyed. As space was sealed, the saints and other shore realm experts of the Three Silver Clan sensed something was wrong.
"Not good. There are enemies." "Space is sealed. All teleportation tools are ineffective." "Not only are teleportation tools ineffective, but we've also lost contact with the outside world."
The Starry Sky Fish Clan's understanding of space was profound. They not only sealed space but also blocked communication tools. Celestial Saint and House Saint, each leading 5 other shore realm experts and 500 peak god venerables, attacked different star systems. Their goal was clear: to kill the top experts of the Three Silver Clan. Only when the top experts were all dead would other clans dare to take advantage. Otherwise, as long as there were saints guarding, no small clan would dare to come. House Saint whispered to Lin Moyu,
"When the fight starts, take care of yourself. Don't get involved in battles between saints. Take this for self-defense."
House Saint handed over a severed finger. The severed finger emitted a terrifying aura, with faint chanting sounds emanating from it. The aura of this severed finger alone could rival an ordinary other shore realm expert. Lin Moyu took the severed finger.
"Is this the severed finger of the past Buddha?"
House Saint nodded.
"Yes."
The past Buddha was a saint, and his body was extremely precious. After refining, it could be considered top-grade material. Unexpectedly, House Saint had kept a severed finger for himself. Lin Moyu smiled.
"Do you know what this means?"
Hao Saint rolled his eyes at Lin Moyu.
This is for your self-defense, not for you to show off. Use it only if necessary.
Lin Moyu readily accepted the severed finger.
Do I look like that kind of person?
Hao Saint gave him a look that clearly said,
Aren't you exactly that kind of person?
At this moment, Lin Moyu suddenly received a transmission.
Your face is getting thicker.
The voice belonged to an old acquaintance. Lin Moyu turned to see Zhu Qiwu smiling at him. Lin Moyu smiled back.
Senior Zhu, you can contribute more this time.
Zhu Qiwu signaled Lin Moyu not to speak directly and to use soul transmission instead. Hao Saint was Zhu Qiwu's teacher, and in front of Hao Saint, Zhu Qiwu's temper was restrained by 99%. Lin Moyu chuckled and immediately switched to soul transmission. After a moment, Hao Saint said slowly,
Don't think I can't hear you just because you're using soul transmission.
Lin Moyu laughed.
Just chatting, you can listen if you like.
1912. Chapter 1912. Mercy to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. Lin Moyu remained calm, unlike others who were very serious. Perhaps it was because he had fought too many battles, big and small, and had become numb to it. Soon, powerful auras were sensed. With the undead vision activated, Lin Moyu saw numerous soul flames. They were burning brightly in the starry sky. These soul flames formed a special shape. It was the battle formation of the Three Silver Clan. The Three Silver Clan also sensed the arrival of Hao Saint and others, and they immediately erupted with astonishing auras. The battle formation activated, and the images of silver snakes, silver dogs, and silver herons suddenly appeared. These three images represented the three totems of the Three Silver Clan, and they roared fiercely with the battle formation. The piercing sound reached deep into the soul. Lin Moyu remained indifferent.
Let me greet them first.
As he spoke, he snapped his fingers, and countless skeleton generals appeared in the starry sky. 500 million skeleton generals, only 100 million were sent out, with 400 million remaining in the White Star of Spells, ready to be summoned at any time. After the skeleton generals appeared, they simultaneously swung their long swords. The white sword energy, carrying the power of death, swept across the starry sky, engulfing the battle formation. The just activated battle formation totems were torn to pieces. The skeleton generals had the combat power of a 6th-level god venerable, equivalent to tens of millions of 6th-level god venerables attacking simultaneously. The momentum and destructive power far exceeded imagination. With one round of attacks, the battle formation of the Three Silver Clan collapsed on the spot, and countless warriors of the Three Silver Clan died instantly.
Damn it!
With a roar, someone rushed out. The other Shore Realm experts of the Three Silver Clan finally made a move, and with a roar, a giant silver dog appeared in the starry sky. The giant dog opened its mouth wide, roaring continuously, immediately sucking in countless sword energies and swallowing them into its belly. Then it roared again, spitting out the sword energies it had just swallowed. The reversed sword energies surged towards Lin Moyu and others. Hao Saint whispered,
Qiwu, you go. Yes.
Zhu Qiwu shouted and struck out with a palm. Star-shattering palm. A giant palm appeared in the void, seemingly capable of shattering everything, with a vast star river and countless stars appearing and disappearing within it. The attacks spat out by the giant dog were all shattered by this palm. The star-shattering palm shattered the attacks and continued to fly towards the other Shore Realm expert of the Three Silver Clan. The giant dog howled continuously, and a silver disc appeared in the starry sky. The disc was like a star, scattering silver light, and collided with Zhu Qiwu's star-shattering palm. The starry sky shook violently, and the silver disc was covered with dense cracks, shattering in less than a second. The star-shattering palm, carrying terrifying momentum, continued forward.
This is impossible.
The giant dog roared in shock and anger, shouting,
Scatter!
The members of the Three Silver Clan behind it scattered frantically, fleeing quickly. At this moment, the star-shattering palm approached, and the giant dog spat out a giant war knife. The war knife slashed down, striking the star-shattering palm. The starry sky shook again, and the war knife shattered on the spot. The star-shattering palm weakened but still existed. The giant dog was stunned, unable to block the palm despite using all its strength. It retreated frantically, not daring to take such a terrifying palm head-on. As it fled, the star-shattering palm changed direction and pursued. The palm was soul-locked, making it difficult to evade. Wherever the star-shattering palm passed, stars collapsed. Under one palm, the other shore realm expert of the Three Silver Clan fled madly. Lin Moyu praised.
Senior Zhu is indeed powerful.
Not only him, but the other shore realm experts also showed admiration. Although the star-shattering law was only in the second tier, its attack power was among the top in the second tier. Zhu Qiwu had refined the star-shattering law into the star-shattering rule. Its power was no weaker than the laws of the first tier. Zhu Qiwu chuckled, as if he had done something ordinary. He gave Lin Moyu a grateful look. The previous star-shattering palm came from the inheritance of the star-shattering supreme. If he had relied solely on his own comprehension, he wouldn't have been able to unleash such a palm. After all, he had just entered the other shore realm and was still inferior to many veteran other shore realm experts. The team advanced rapidly, breaking into the Three Silver Clan's military base. How Saint shouted,
Attack!
Slaughter descended, and all the other shore realm experts and god venerables scattered, beginning a terrifying massacre. Section 2200/2369-2201. How Saint's gaze locked onto the depths of the starry sky, where a powerful presence, the Howling Sky Saint, resided. He glanced at Lin Moyu, who understood How Saint's meaning.
Proceed as planned.
How Saint nodded slightly, his figure suddenly becoming ethereal and disappearing into the starry sky. He charged into the deepest part of the starry sky, heading towards the Howling Sky Saint. The previous battle was just an appetizer. The forces of the Three Silver Clan finally erupted with powerful auras, and their other shore realm experts made their move. The other shore realm experts of both sides quickly found their opponents, and the starry sky was instantly shattered. The god venerables stayed away from the battlefield of the other shore realm experts, as it was not a place they could touch. Even the aftermath gave them headaches. Battle formations appeared, and the god venerables of the Three Silver Clan formed battle formations and charged out. Here, the human race only deployed 500 god venerables, far fewer in number than the Three Silver Clan. But these 500 god venerables were all peak god venerables, each capable of fighting 10 ordinary 9th level god venerables. Quality compensated for quantity. The god venerables of the Three Silver Clan formed battle formations to confront them. The battle was extremely fierce, and Lin Moyu released tens of millions of skeleton generals to join the fray. At the same time, he sensed the skeleton generals in other places. At this moment, battles had erupted not only here but also in other places. The Three Silver Clan was in complete chaos, and the skeleton generals were slaughtering star systems. Countless members of the Three Silver Clan died under the swords of the skeleton generals. Lin Moyu remained indifferent, showing no mercy. In the struggle between races, mercy to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. If you spare one, countless of your own people might die at the hands of the enemy. Hatred accumulates, and both sides have accumulated unimaginable hatred over countless years. Everyone wants to kill the other. However, the skeleton generals did not destroy the star systems. Lin Moyu ordered them to preserve the integrity of the star systems as much as possible. Only then would other races be interested in occupying the territory. Otherwise, what use is a completely devastated star system? Their plan would not be realized. The skeleton generals also did not kill all the members of the Three Silver Clan. They mainly killed the strong ones. Those above the God King realm were basically not spared. This is what Lin Moyu meant by killing half and leaving half. Kill the strong half and leave the weak half. Strong shockwaves came from the depths of the starry sky. How Saint had already engaged the Howling Sky Saint in a life-and-death battle, and the intensity was terrifying. Lin Moyu had confidence in How Saint. As a saint, Hao Saint's strength was top-notch. Even though the Void Rule was not good at killing, its ability to trap and lock the enemy was unparalleled. On the other side of the starry sky, intense battle auras also erupted. The team of Tian Saint had also engaged the Three Silver Clan. Those were not members of the Soul-Devouring Clan but pure members of the Three Silver Clan, and the battle was equally fierce. The original plan was to spare neither side. Both saints of the Three Silver Clan had to die.
There are two saints in the Three Silver Clan, the Howling Sky Saint of the Silver Dog Clan and the Swallowing Sky Saint of the Silver Snake Clan. In addition, there are 8 other Shore Realm experts. In terms of strength, we have some advantage and should have no problem.
Lin Moyu thought through the entire plan and felt that there should be no major issues, and it should proceed smoothly. Suddenly, he felt a strong sense of danger. The space around Lin Moyu fluctuated, and a giant silver snake suddenly appeared, opening its mouth to bite Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu remained calm, his body glowing with purple and gold, and he punched towards the silver snake. 1913.